Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new episode of Spirituality for Badass Babes. Today, I have my beautiful friend, Gwen Kazlouskas, who is just absolutely stunning. She used to be a public speaker. She still publicly speaks. She used to have a beautiful marine biology degree. Now she mixes the Western and the Eastern, which I am all about. I think there's a part that should be in the Western and also in the Eastern, mixing the body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit connection together. She also works with essential oils and does so many beautiful things, mindset, and works with just all these beautiful things. So welcome, Gwen. How are you?
Oh, thank you so much for having me as a badass babe on your podcast. It is a privilege to be here with you.
Welcome. I love beautiful the connections that I make on this podcast and everyone that I meet. Everyone's such a badass and so beautiful. So I am very curious about how you came about mixing the Eastern and the Western medicines together. I mean, I think I grew up in the Western world and I grew up like, we have to go to the doctor, we got to do this. But now I'm very into the holistic, like that's pretty much all that I do. I can't remember the last time I've been to a doctor or seen a physician. So I love healing my body naturally. And I love that mixture. I believe there's a certain part, Western medicine is still very important, time and place for it, but our bodies are designed to heal naturally. So how did you come about doing that? You worked in the Western world for a very long time.
I did. Yeah, it was, it's been a very eclectic journey and one that I believe has each step set me on the path to come into my true north and really prepared me to kind of be in that zone of excellence where I get to spend right now. So I am grateful for every piece of it. So, one of the things I look back when I peek at my lineage is the beautiful work ethic that I was gifted by my family. And it was very much unspoken, but it was modeled for me that what we do is we work really hard and then we're going to go play later. That was just kind of the unspoken context of what this lifetime was about. So I signed on with that. That was like, it was great. I was the first one to put myself through college and really loved the fact that I had the ability to go beyond what was shown to be possible for me. So I've had that kind of opened mindset. My father very much was a catalyst of, sure, go ahead, do the thing, do what you want to do. So, so grateful for that. And I, pursued a degree in environmental studies. I worked as a naturalist and field guide in the whale watching boats for 21 years. So that spoke to my love of the natural sciences and learning about biology and how everything is so succinctly perfect out in nature. There are zero accidents. Mother Nature's, she's brilliant.
It's funny,
Mad
biology was
props.
actually my favorite science class and my absolute favorite because of that whole synchronicity. Everything's so beautiful. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, so much of it. I could go off on a whole tangent about it, but that's that's a separate conversation. Yeah, I just have such incredible grace for it. And I was raised Catholic, brought into a Catholic family, but disconnected to it the more I subscribed to sciences and found that there were things that were not congruent that I couldn't reconcile that. So I found that, I kind of went through a period as I developed my science love that I would visit a church for a wedding or a funeral and nothing in between, and kind of subscribed more to the theology of transcendentalism. Like it made sense. I felt very connected and plugged in when I'm in nature. And I put myself through school doing the working on the whale watching boats, and it was an incredible profession. Got my captain's license doing that, lived with my grandmother, which was amazing. And after coming out of my graduating from college, finding myself in a situation where I was going to receive, because my population of whales were migratory, I was going to receive my first unemployment check. And I took that check and the gravity of it didn't align with me. I was like, I'm very capable of working. I'm in a seasonal place. Let me just find something else. So I actually had stepped into answered a call to a seasonal billing position where I was going to go in, and it was perfect because it was a 6-month set of time that would be opposite my migration of my whales. So perfect. It was perfect. I was working on building a house. This was like a means to an end. Great. And I walked in and it took about 3 seconds for them to get a hold of me and go, oh, you cannot be locked in the room down at the end of the hallway. We need you up in the front of the practice. So within 3 months, I took over the medical records in the front office of an urgent care facility. And our nearest hospital was an hour away. And we had 9 providers, and it was like we had a patient in front of us every 60 seconds and 6 incoming phone lines with no answering service. And it was like, okay, so this is what we're doing for right now. But I, as I would be in like treatments and all of this stuff and absorbing like the science and the medicine, and I was constantly a student. After 4 years, I realized I had extended myself beyond where I had the capacity, and I jumped into veterinary medicine, and I brought a clinic into a hospital situation and spent a decade there. And it was so working with medical practitioners and being the sponge that I am, well, loved every piece of that. But here's the thing. When I was in that grind of, a good 80-hour work week for a couple decades, and my father was still working in his business. And mind you, we're still in that mindset. We work now, we play later. I'm going fishing later. And he died while he was grinding, and he was still in the grind. And he never got the opportunity to take that time to go play. And it caused me to really pump the brakes fast and say, okay, this whole principle of how I spend my time was built on a lie. What you gonna do about it? So it caused me to really decide, what did I want to do? Did I want to continue to run an incredible operation for some great people, or is it time for me to do my thing? So I jumped ship and bought a restaurant. And around that time, when I was grieving the most, was when the essential oils had come into my world. And I started a trajectory with an energy medicine school that I am still partnered with. That's been an 8-year journey, and I teach at that school now, and it's been amazing. So being in that space of having been raised in the Western medical world, working in that field, so entrenched in it, and then coming into a place of witnessing as my awakening was happening. Around the time my father had passed, it's like that 2x4 upside the head that causes you to start asking a lot of questions. And I started to pay attention to something really special that was happening at that time. And I don't know I would have noticed it had I still been in that unconscious place that I had been prior. So it was like the universe kept presenting dual cases. This, there's a lot of variables. Like I would get patients that would have very short palliative care diagnoses and same type of an illness. And there were different breeds, but same treatment plan, same diet, same prognosis. And I would see one would keep ticking along and one would succumb. And this started coming in twos. And I'm like, what is happening? What is happening here? There's something what is the subtext? What is my message? What am I not seeing? And then I started dialing into who is holding the leash for this patient. And the one who, and by no means a judgment, because grief is legit, but the ones who would mourn the animal who was still right in front of them, like they'd already gone, that one was like, check, please. The sky's clearly falling. I'm going to go now. Thank you. And the one who never got told they were sick, whose owner was like, want to go to the beach? Want to go to the beach? They never got sick because it was like they didn't get told this is your fate, and they vibrated at a different level, and that illness never landed. And I was like, this is fascinating. And they would stay years beyond, like it was mind-blowing. And so I started to watch this and pay attention, and I'm like, where else is this true? And my grandmother at that time, she was almost 100 when she passed. She was amazing. Talk about energy. And she was my, like, oh, that woman. Oh. She was in a nursing home for the last 5 years. I needed support caring for her. And I started to watch. I would go in and I would love on everybody, you know, and I would really love on her, but I would try and harvest as many smiles as I was when I was there. But there were people who, the staff was amazing, but there were people who didn't get as much attention or didn't get as much family coming in, that sort of thing. And it seemed like those people would come and go quickly. And it was like they would succumb to the things faster. Whereas, you know, I would see my grandmother, she would have a moment where she would wobble in her health, or she would have grief because her friends were passing. And I would hold that space for her. And then I would just remind her, look, lady, today you woke up and you knew what side of your pants to put your underwear on. Do you want to go play cards? You're pretty all right. And she'd start laughing. She'd run down the hall. I'd have to run and catch up to her. And we'd play cards and she'd laugh, and she would forget that that thing was happening, and it no longer had symptoms in her. And it was like she would rally.
That's beautiful. So I always say this because I work with like a vibrational frequency scale. So like love is vibrating all the way up, and then fear and grief is all the way at the bottom. So she kept vibrating towards love, knowing that no matter what, like it's okay. Like she's human. Everyone is human. You're allowed to feel sadness, anger, grief here and there. But as long as you take yourself out of it and go towards the gratitude, the love, and stay in that frequency, then you're going to live a beautiful, healthy life for 100+ years.
Yes, yes. It was such an amazing, like, those series of events were so pivotal for me in my awakening journey. And it was like that tuning fork got struck for me and really set me on, like, it tuned my compass to let me know, okay, there's a lot here that's not meeting the eye that probably I need to be paying a lot of attention to and sharing. So as the oils came into my world, as all of everything divinely, you know, when you're not ready, when you're unconscious, your guides are off on the sidelines going,
Here
okay,
you go.
let's go do the grind again, you know. And then as soon as you make up the decision that something needs to change, even if you're afraid of accessing it because you don't know what's on the other side of it, all the opportunities kept just dropping in, like faster than I could keep up with them almost. It was brilliant. It was just deciding that was hard.
I'm going through something very similar right now. I left my ex, and it was taking me so long to decide, like, am I sure that I want to break this marriage? Like, leave it. We didn't even get married yet. Like, am I sure I want to call off my wedding? Once I did, the second I did, all of these things just kept popping into my lap. Like I said, I don't know how it's happening. Things are just falling into my lap, and it's beautiful. And I'm so grateful, but it took me to take that step. It was an internal battle for a very long time, but taking that step that's what's going to open up so many doors. And a lot of people are so afraid to take that step because the unknown is scary. It's hella scary, but we need to be living outside of our comfort zone. That's when transformation happens. That's when our worlds completely open up. It's beautiful.
Right up, sister. That is no truer words. And So I'm curious for you, what does it look like when you're in contemplation and trying to find what is your best possible outcome? How does it land for you? Is it knowing? Is it a feeling? What's your diagnostics?
Yeah, so for me, it comes from obviously intuition. My intuition is inner knowing. It's just this inner knowing. I know what to do. My mind's telling me one thing, but my heart is telling me something else. I know I should go this way, but my mind keeps saying this, so it's going to take me a little bit longer. But yeah, that whatever that intuition comes from for you, if it's an inner feeling or if it's an inner knowing, if it's a sight, whatever that intuition is for you, your guides will always guide you the right way, 100%.
Absolutely. I think we're born with this, but because of that natural inclination to want to fit in with everybody, we shut down and mute so many of the gifts that we're born with to conduct our life purpose, that it's not until it's modeled for you, or you finally come back to that. So it was during this whole unpacking process for me and getting ready to leave the corporate grind and that wake up call, that was when all my mentors came in and started to teach me how to pay attention to that inner guidance more, because it's there, but it can be subtle, and it's an important
I
set of
laugh
tools.
because a lot of the time when people they're awakening, they think when they try to channel people, because I teach channeling as well, they're like, how do I channel that? Am I gonna get this big boom coming from me? I'm like, no, it's so subtle, it's so little that you won't even notice a shift, but it's there. Like, you need to listen to your inner guidance. Everyone's like, am I gonna see like this magical being popping out of the thin air? I'm like, no, you're not. I'd like to. That would be fantastic. We're not living in a movie.
I love that. Yeah, and everybody does like get their receivers are dialed in to get it just a little differently, whether it's a clairsentience, a clairvoyant, like there's so many beautiful ways. Yeah. One of the cool gifts that I was gifted in that sort of contemplation space is distinguishing the difference between the head voice and the heart voice. And I was like, well, wouldn't that be nice if one sounded like Edith Bunker and one sounded like Cher? And they're like, oh no, it's all your voice, Toots.
Nope, it's all you. You just have to decipher which one is talking to you.
Yeah, so I was taught it's the timing. And I was like, tell me more. And they're like, the one that comes through first without falter, that is boom, like a lightning strike, didn't have time to overthink it. So if you listen to that one, it's coming from the one that has no fear, that's got your soul as the microphone at that moment. And then in 1/100th of a second, damage control department starts coming and going, yabbit, 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 yabbit.
Yep. The
So
monkey
if
brain.
you can start to peel that apart, then the play small part of you gets louder, and the let's keep us really tiny and safe part of you gets put in the back seat a little bit more, and that's when some pretty badass magic starts happening.
Oh, it's beautiful. I want to chat a little bit more about the essential oils. How did those come into your life? And can you share a little bit of what are some of your favorite essential oils and what you use them for? Because I use essential oils. I use them as like intention oils as well, which some of the audience, they know what that is, but some of the audience, I'm sure they're brand new to essential oils and don't even know where to start. Can you guide them in the right directions with that?
I'd be happy to. Yeah. So for me, and I want to speak to the skeptics, the people who think it's nice perfume, because I thought it was nice perfume. I didn't remember this lifetime yet. When I first met them, I was like, oh, it's patchouli, and you're going to wear it to the Grateful Dead, and that'll be nice, dear. And then I was really dealing with grief and all the stages of the loss of my father. And I was, pissed going into the holiday that his seat was empty. I just wasn't having it. My little inner child was tantruming, and I was having a hard time shaking it. And my husband's a Christmas baby. He loves it. And I just I couldn't rally into the holiday. And then my friend who taught me the voices, the head voice, heart voice, she had offered Enlighten Up for the Holidays experience and brought me through a series of 6 oils. And we did some really intentional work with them and also learned the science behind it. So my new like spiritual mojo was like, oh, and my science brain was like, oh, so I was like, interesting. And at the end of it, I came right the heck out of poor me. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And I was like, oh, what just happened? What just happened? And it was a healing that was unexpected. And it's been quite an incredible journey when I realized these are not perfume. These are incredible forms of medicine. Now, I work with Doterra. It is a phenomenal product. It's a phenomenal company. I have a very strong environmental ethic, and I love how the resources are being used. I love the science behind how the product works. So we're working in so many different arenas, and the integrity of the product is beautiful. The thing that I realize is that I am not intended to be someone's healer. However, I'm serving as the conduit to be able to put the tools in their hands so that they can know what to reach for situationally to support them and become the healer in their own home. So where my expertise and skills lie now is to just help guide people to the right tools and teach them the mastery of how to utilize them to get amazing effects. And we're not only working with the measurable chemistry and how they work in your cells, we're working with a frequency that can be measured. We are working with the aromatic aspect, which migrates the same pathway as inhaled anesthesia directly to the part of the brain that is experiencing fight or flight and can change the state of mind very quickly without addictions, without toxins in seconds. We are also able to just really be empowered by them. So in my home, my husband and I have not touched over-the-counter medications in over 5 years at this point. And I have found a way to be able to, it's based on, heal your own self, heal your mind, heal your body, heal your spirit, show someone else how to do this. So when people partner with me, they get access to me, which is important because we can't put on the website what these tools can do. The FDA will not let us. So having a skilled resource be able to actually say what this bottle can do is a big part of the journey. And then as you're teaching people to do that, you heal your finances and call in that beautiful abundance and then pay that forward. So it is just such an incredible journey. So I do this now full time. And I am on a trajectory. I've actually realized time freedom at this point. I am, it's been such a blessing. So
Amazing.
love this work.
Amazing. So what are some of your favorite essential oils?
Okay. So on my daily use list is frankincense, of course. Frankincense is a synergistic oil. It has over 200 naturally occurring chemical constituents. It literally supports every single cell in the body. And it has the capacity to open chakra 1 and 7. So, little things like that. It's incredible on skin. And so I'm actually 97.
You look fabulous.
Thank you. It's the frankincense.
It's the frankincense and rose oil. I love it. And I love how you bring like the Eastern and the Western with that as well. You bring the science as well as, yeah, it's going to smell really good and it's going to help you heal yourself, but also like it touches every single cell of your body. You're bringing all the science into it as well. I absolutely love that. Is there any takeaways that you want people to know about, whether that's about healing themselves internally, about essential oils or anything, any 3 tips that you think people should walk away from today's episode with?
Yes, absolutely. All products are not created the same. And because the pros and cons of the FDA not managing this resource out for the population is that the due diligence of the product quality actually sits on the shoulders of the consumer. So every product is going to say something like pure and organic and natural and all of those types of things. But because the FDA is not actually looking at the bottle, out of 60 ingredients, if one's organic, it's going to say organic. And it also can have turpentine and formaldehyde and be sold at a really nice, reputable, natural market. So get it on the baby. And it migrates from the surface of the skin into the bloodstream, into the cells in about 30 seconds. So get that formaldehyde in there because it's super natural, right? Yeah, there's some natural ones out there that are marketed organic that are 98% synthetic. So be careful where you're getting your oils. I love working with Doterra, and it's the one that more medical facilities are turning to because of the purity and the potency of the product, which is great. And if you want to learn more, I would be honored to support you on your journey. If you are not already working with another Doterra goddess, then my door is wide open and it would be a pleasure to serve you.
Fabulous. And where can people find you?
I am going to, should I furnish you with links that you'll post in with the,
Yeah, the link
so
will be
I'll
in the
make,
show notes. Yes.
yeah, absolutely. My, I have a group called Soul Tree Healing Essentials group on Facebook. And actually, Ania and I did an interview there as well. You can find that interview. And so that's one way to contact me. You can reach me through direct message on Facebook. And I absolutely love being able to support people with this.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for your time, Gwen. It has been beautiful. It's been lovely learning about essential oils and a little bit of how you got to where you are today and the merge between Eastern and Western. So beautiful. Thank you so much. It's been a lovely pleasure having another beautiful badass goddess on this podcast. Thank you so much, and we will chat soon.
Thank you, my friend.
For more tips and tricks on business and spirituality, join us inside the Spirituality for Badass Babes Facebook group.